Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome to the New Orleans Jazz Museum. On behalf of New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park, we're so delighted to have this partnership with this wonderful institution to provide free concerts and free programs. We're here every Tuesday and Thursday, but on Tuesdays we have our Arrowhead Jazz Band. Why do we have the Arrowhead Jazz Band? Well, we have a mission, and the mission of our park is to instill a public appreciation for New Orleans music, culture, and history via education, entertainment, and hopefully you feel enlightened after our programs. And so with the Arrowhead Jazz Band, it's a band comprised of permanent Park Service Rangers and local musicians. And I say local because they're based here, but they travel all over. So help me bring up the band. On bass, we have Park Ranger Hunter Miles Davis. Yeah. Y'all must know him. He's famous. He's famous. On bass, Kerry Lewis Sr. With the dazzling green, Park Service green. On guitar, Danny Abel. I'm so excited because for a while we haven't had horns, and they just add so much to our sound. On trumpet, Katie Rogers. She's famous too. Another Park Service personnel, Saskia Walker, that's going to be singing. And if you thought I wore this uniform for fun, you're mistaken. I'm a park ranger too, and my name is Jade Perdue. All right, so this month we are taking street names and recognizing that these street names have songs, or these songs have been made into street names, something like that. And we're going to start on the sunny side of the street.
Grab your coat and get your hat. Leave your worries on the doorstep. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. Did you hear that bitter pie? And that happy tune is your step. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade with my blues on parade. But now I'm not afraid. This rover has crossed over. If I ever had a cent, I'd be rich as Rockefeller. Throw dust at my feet on the sunny side of the street. get your hat, leave your worries on the doorstep. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. Do you hear that pitter pat? Ooh, that happy tune is your step. Life can be so sweet on the sunny side of the street. I used to walk in the shade with my blues on parade, but now I'm not afraid. This rover, ooh, has crossed over. If I ever had a cent, I'd be rich, ooh, as Rockefeller. Gold at my feet on the sunny, on the sunny, on the sunny, sunny side of the street. Thank you so much.
So good. We started on the sunny side. Now, what's a street that we can go down? I think we should go down Perdido. We'll talk a little bit about it. Yeah, let's go down Perdido. I'm pretty sure you may have crossed some of these streets in your stay here.
Perdido, I look for my heart, it's Perdido. I lost it way down in Torito the day the fiesta started. Bolero, we swayed as we danced the bolero. I missed me a listing sombrero, and that's when my heart departed. Ah, was the sun when we first came close. Love was the moon when we said adios. Perdido, my heart ever since been Perdido. I know I must go to Torito to find what I lost. Perdido. you. That was Perdido, written by Juan Tizol, who was a trombonist, I believe, in the Duke Ellington Band. And Duke Ellington snatched the song up, said, "Oh yeah, that was a great idea. Now we're gonna do it," and it made it famous. But it was written by one of his musicians, not by Duke Ellington. Many of them were.
Let's think of another street. I think Perdido, we had already explored all of what we need to. Drum roll, I think Basin Street is next. And Basin Street is one of those streets that you can, we'll talk about it after. Let's play the song.
Won't you come along with me to the Mississippi? We'll take the boat to the land of dreams, steam down the river down to New Orleans. The band's there to meet us, old friends there to greet us, where all the proud and elite folks meet. Heaven on earth, they call it Basin Street. Basin Street is the street where the best folks always meet. In New Orleans, land of dreams, you'll never know how nice it seems, just how much it really means just to be, oh yes sirree, New Orleans, the land of dreams, where I can lose my Basin Street blues. Basin Street is the street where the best folks always meet. In New Orleans, land of dreams, you'll never know how nice it seems, just how much it really means just to be, oh yes sirree, in New Orleans, I can lose my Basin Street blues.
So with Basin Street, a lot of these tunes were written about these streets because a lot of the greats, these were popular meeting spots or streets that meeting spots and clubs were stationed at. And actually the current spot that they announced Basin Street Station. And so it has a bit of museum-like esque things and interpretive media from our national park, and also a little bit of remnants of what it used to be, which is a train station for people to come in and out of and to the city. Now I believe a lot of RVs are parked there, so you can get a coffee shop, but that was a train station for people to come in and out, hence station. But these streets, just like Bourbon Street, and that we'll get to, and even Frenchmen, are spots where musicians played, and we still use them today. So yeah, that's Basin Street for you. Huh? The next street. Now this street is not here in New Orleans, but it has a little bit of similarities with Bourbon Street, and I'll let you guess the name of it, and maybe guess what city it might be in once we play it.
And we've said it a million times.
Yes. It's Bill.
Okay.
Guess though.
So it's more like a bathroom.
Did we cut this out?
So what's the A? And B. Yeah, that's the first chord. The seven wonders of the world I've seen. And many are the places I have been. Take my advice, folks, and see Beale Street first. If Beale Street could talk, if Beale Street could talk, married men would have to take their beds and walk, except one or two who never drink booze, and the blind man on the corner who sings the Beale Street blues. Beale Street could talk, if Beale Street could talk, married men would have to take their beds and walk, except one or two who never drink booze, and the blind man on the corner who sings the Beale Street blues. I'd rather be here than any place I know. I'd rather be here than any place I know. It's going to take a sergeant to make me go. could talk, if Beale Street could talk, married men would have to take their beds and walk. Step 102. Nine men on the corner sings the Beale Street blues. If Beale Street could talk, if Beale Street could talk, married men would have to take their beds and walk. Except one or two who never drink booze, and the blind man on the corner who sings the Beale Street blues.
Do y'all know the city? Take a guess. Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly. It's New York, right? No? No, no, no. Another one, another guess. Come on now. You get a free stamp down at our park site at 916 North Peters. So come on down, collect your free stamp for taking a great guess. What time is it? 26. How many songs with that? Oh, yes. It's about that time where we tell you more about the streets. And again, at the beginning of this program, I mentioned that we are all about education and entertainment and enlightenment. So we can't have an Arrowhead Jazz Band performance without breaking it down and stepping away from the music and opening up the floor for questions, dialogue, and anything you may be curious about the park service and maybe some other streets that you may want to go down, but you need some advice on. But yeah, we're open for questions right now. I know it's kind of like, whoa, y'all weren't expecting that. A park ranger song. We have a CD down at our site, 916 North Peters. So you gotta buy. We're already giving you free content right here. So you gotta collect our CD down the street. Yeah. We can write one on the spot. I'm kidding, no. We could? Yes. Your question right here. How? That is a great question. A long journey. Luck. But no, so our park is the only park that's dedicated to preserving and promoting New Orleans jazz music. And so at the time, my journey, I did 2 internships with this particular park through Green and Youth Foundation. Then after I graduated from undergrad, I had this setup where I had to enter into the park service within a time span. So the pandemic was happening, and I decided, well, let me play piano and pursue music and still learn about history, interpretation. So that's how I ended up here at this park and not Grand Canyon or somewhere else. But yeah, Hunter has like a similar story, and Mr. Lewis has a longer story. But yeah, so that's, yeah. And I've been playing piano for just a few, like seriously for some months, but yeah, I'm playing right notes and wrong notes intentionally. Yeah. That's the form of interpretation. There's a question in the back. All right, in the back.
What are some of your musical influences as a pianist, vocalist, share some of the people you listen to that inform your art?
You're asking what of all of our musical influences?
Yeah.
Like
for example,
specific music.
wow, that really is the way I want to sound.
What did you choose? You want all of us to go? Yeah. Okay. I'll go ahead and I'll unwrap this mic.
Well, I think that for jazz vocalists, the peak of jazz vocals starts and ends with Ella Fitzgerald. So that's my answer. And a lot of these tunes, she recorded so much music that were all of these standard jazz tunes as well as more traditional tunes, and they're all sort of melded together. So a lot of the inspiration that I have even today, like literally today, of these recordings that I was listening to practice these tunes were mostly from Ella Fitzgerald. So she's really, she's the best.
I would say top jazz influence, it would be Ella Fitzgerald as a vocalist, like more of a vocalist myself rather than pianist. But for my piano style, it's all rooted in church. I grew up in church, singing in church and playing in church, so most of my sound is, churchy. That's it.
I already got one. Look at that. I don't know. That's a hard question because there's so many influences. I feel like this could take longer than Carrie's life story. How much time we got? Let's take it all up. No, but I don't know. Like when it comes to jazz guitar, I'm really into guys like Wes Montgomery, Grant Green, George Benson, and then it gets more modern like Schofield and Mike Stern, guys like that. There's a great guitarist in town who I studied with named Steve Masakowski. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but obviously a huge influence because I studied with him. And then, I don't know, the list goes on and on because there's so many different styles, and I like to play different stuff, and this town, allows for playing a bunch of different gigs with different people. So I'll just keep it short. But that's pretty much, in this kind of style, that's sort of my main influences.
Okay, for trumpet, Louis Armstrong, Charlie Shavers, who it was more swing era. And as far as living New Orleans people, Wendell Brunius, Leroy Jones, Charlie Fardella, Mike Fulton, and the late Connie Jones.
It may not stretch.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So musical influences for jazz, I would have to say Miles Davis. He's a great guy. And as far as percussion is concerned, I really listen to a lot of Jesus, his name just left my head. But we'll just go with Chris Dave for now, which is a percussionist, and yeah, we'll stick with him with that.
Do I have to? Anyway. Well, to kind of sort of mirror, I would say my first influences were my teachers, Mike D'Antoni, Bill Huntington, Walter Payton, and Richard Payne. And from those gentlemen, they opened the door to the multitude of bass players, not only jazz, that influenced my playing. Some of the most notable, I would say, closest to who I try to mirror is Oscar Pettiford, Ray Brown, and Chester's Artist, who was a local musician here. Hello. And it spans on from there to, we were discussing this morning, Stanley Clark, Victor Wooten, who still were rooted in a jazz vein, just on a more electric side. Yeah, and the list goes on from there.
That's good. I'm writing those names down mentally. I'll come back to out. And actually, for the people that want to continue watching our shows, all of our shows are on Facebook at New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park, Facebook Live, so you can always catch performances if you have to step out. But yeah, do you have any more questions? We have time for one more? Yes, ma'am. Or two more. Oh.
You'll be surprised. Yeah, I can take the mic. Yeah. Whichever works. But yeah, so with this wonderful genre of jazz, or what we deem as jazz, in a general overview, it kind of influences a lot of other genres in many different forms. So we started here during the slavery times, during you had what was known as slave hollers or shout songs that were sung inside the field. And then that transitioned to what we know as blues. So that gave us those bending notes, those chordal progressions. Those all stemmed from the blues. And then you started to progress a little bit more. Now, when you take this music to different parts of the world and America, that's when you start to have your different subgenres of what is known as jazz, if you will. But to talk more specifically about myself, I grew up in church as well, so I played a lot of church music. And then I just was a fan of jazz since my mom was a fan and named me after a great musician, I guess. And so that kind of kept me, I was always interested in jazz, but since I grew up and saw musicians all the time in church, because I mean, most of the time you see jazz musicians, you're probably going to be in a nightclub, and you know, you can't take a 2-year-old to the nightclub. So I learned how to play and really establish my playing skills in church. And then later on, once I was, I think I was in high school. Yeah, I was in high school, had a friend by the name of Sean Mason, great pianist in New York. We both used to skip class together and play music. And that was a great time, and that's kind of where I learned how to play more of a jazzier style. So, yeah.
So we have another question? Where?
Somebody?
That was yes? No? Okay. I didn't see anyone. All right, great. We're moving on. Well, lessons for you young folks out there that's wanting to learn jazz is go back to the roots, skip class a little bit, not too much. No, I'm kidding. Stay in school, definitely. School and also getting experience, having a mentor is definitely helps when you want to learn this idiom. With, for example, you said a lot of drummers may get it started with rock or country, and it's all from like who are they listening to? You start with what you're listening to, and then that's how you progress. Yeah. So the next street that you should not take your 2-year-old to is Bourbon Street or 10-year-old. It's strictly an adult street. I heard a family take their whole little kids to Bourbon Street. I'm like, no. So for all the people that want to come to New Orleans, keep your kids away from Bourbon Street. Yeah. Yeah, bourbon.
Let's fly down or drive down to New Orleans. That city sure looks pretty. Historic scene. I'll take you, parade you, yeah, down Bourbon Street. We'll take all the hot spots, see all the big shots down New Orleans. Hey! I'll take you, parade you down Bourbon Street. We'll take all the hot spots, we'll see all the big shots down Bourbon Street.
Oh, man. I see the adults like Bourbon Street. Okay, okay. All right. Now, after you've partied enough on bourbon and Frenchman, you may go back home and you may think, you may tell someone, do you know what it means to miss New Orleans?
Do you know what it means to miss New Orleans and miss it each night and day? I know I'm not wrong. This feeling's getting stronger the longer I stay away. Miss the moss-colored vines and tall sugar pines where mockingbirds used to sing. And I'd like to see that lazy Mississippi hurrying into spring. The moonlight on the bayou, the Creole tune that fills the air. I dream about magnolias in June. Soon I'm wishing I was there. Do you know what it means to miss New Orleans when that's where you left your heart? And there's one thing more, I miss the one I care for more than I miss heart. And there's one thing more, I miss the one I care for more than I miss New
So, after you've traveled down these streets, or when you come to New Orleans, you might come from Mardi Gras, right? And pass down all of these streets. I know, Mardi Gras season, that's when I walk the most. Get all of my exercise during Mardi Gras season, and then the rest of the year, I do whatever I want. But yeah, when you come down here, go to the Mardi Gras, and that's what we're going to play next. That's it, yeah? Yeah. Hold it.
Stroll to New Orleans, you ought to go see the Mardi Gras. When you go to New Orleans, you ought to go see the Mardi Gras. When you see the Mardi Gras, somebody'll tell you what the carnival for. Get your ticket in your hand, down on go through New Orleans. Get your ticket in your head if you want to go through New Orleans. You go to New Orleans, somebody'll show you the Zulu King. The Zulu King, and on St. Claude and Dumas. When you see the Zulu King down on St. Claude and Dumas.
just flies. We have gotten down to our last song, unfortunately. And so before we let you go and send you off with a great song, just a reminder that there is a 5 o'clock performance at the balcony. It's a New Orleans Jazz Museum program. Please check out the websites for the museum. It's nolajazzmuseum.org. For National Park Service, it's nps.gov/jazz. So check out your phone so you won't forget, nps.gov/jazz. We're located down at 916 North Peters. And that's all I can remember for now. Let's talk about the band, talk about how great they were. Hunter Miles Davis on drums. Kerry Lewis Sr. on bass. Katie Rogers on trumpet, and the other horn that is slipping away from me. What's the horn? Flugelhorn. Yeah, of course. I said that. Danny Abel on guitar. Saskia Walker on voice and talking. Voice and interpretation, and I myself on interpretation and piano playing. I'm Jade Perdue. Thank you for coming through. Oh yeah. Merci beaucoup. Yes. And we're going to send you out with Going Back Home to New Orleans.
Back home, Pinane, to the land of the beautiful queen. Going back home to my baby. Going back to New Orleans. See Nana, my parent, cousin, and mama and pa. Going to plant my feet on Rampart Street, 'cause New Orleans is my home. Nevermore will I roam. Gonna get me that fill of etouffee. Going New Orleans is my home. Gonna get some crawfish jambalaya. Fill my soul. Get me some love and satisfy. 'Cause I'm home in New Orleans. Thank you so much.
Oh, man. Hunter Miles Davis on drums. Keep it clapping. Kerry Lewis Sr. on bass. Danny Abel. Katie Rogers. Saskia Walker. Jay Purdue, thank you for coming through. Merci beaucoup. All of that. Who's the best national park? We are. All right, see y'all next time.